what I heard you say is that we are here to rectify what our soul's purpose is. Is that the way I just heard that? That
Yes,
we come into human form in order to play something out that the soul wants to unwind.
Correct. In this particular dimension of planet Earth, like everyone's like, oh, we want, world peace. I'm like, that's not going to happen. That's not what this dimension's about, right? So for whoever we are, you, me, and Joe Blow who's listening, your soul was encapsulated in certain forms of constraints and limitations, what I call inadequacies, insecurities, and scarcities, right? The I'm not enough, I'm a failure, I'm da-da-das. And so this particular dimension is the container within which each of those constraints gets stimulated, which is the gift. Now, a lot of people don't see it that way. They actually will placate, they'll numb, they'll escape the pain, like through any means of like self-medication, right? Like the weeds and the smoking and the whatever. But in fact, if you understand, no, I arrive with my bucket of fears and constraints, and this particular construct is designed so that they get stimulated, or what we might say get triggered. Your mother-in-law says this, your husband does that, your boss da-da, and you get pissed. So wherever, again, this is one of my more popular quotes, I say life will present you with people and circumstance to reveal where you're not free. That's the opportunity. You're being shown where you're not free. Now, if you play the game that way, it becomes an exciting proposition to discover more freedom by transcending where I'm not free. But most people don't look at it that way. They try to escape the discomfort of not feeling free, which we could equate to suffering. And then they use whatever means they have to, which is fine. That's just where they're at. But yes, so that is my assertion. I can't categorically say it's true. But as a soul, which is boundless, limitless, pure love, pure freedom, that's our nature. But for whatever reasons in the cosmos, we got bound with these constraints of inadequacy. And so it's like, okay, let's go over here because that's where you can unravel, mitigate, and transcend these to come back to your true nature, which is pure love, pure boundlessness, and freedom.
Oh my gosh. So two things I have to say on this. First, what I just heard in that, and I don't want anybody listening to this to miss this, is that when trials and tribulations show up, it's an opportunity, if we approach it as an opportunity to work out some energetic reason that our soul is here, to work out the healing of our true nature, and we can look at it as an opportunity. Now we don't run from obstacles. We see them as the possibility of expansion for what the soul is here to do. So there actually were obstacles put in place for our best interest, for our soul's best interest. Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, and it gets even more subtle because it's not even that obstacles are presented for our best interest. We currently are the obstacle.
Oh. And that's coming from our ego, or is that coming from the traumas? Like it's our interpretation of
ego and trauma. So like trauma is just a life experience that is revealing something that we arrive with as a form of constraint that we're here to reconcile. And again, I can't repeat that, but it would be worth rewinding. So basically, yes, the trauma is something that happened to us, right? It's an event. But my assertion is that the trauma was synonymous. It was the resonance with which we arrived to curate the events that were appropriate for us to experience the current constraint that we're in. Now, for some people, it's instantaneous that they're like, oh my gosh, like I transcend that. But it's usually in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. When you're a kid, you don't have the discernment. So it really is horrific that your mother said, you're a mistake, we never wanted you. Or that your father said, well, how come you struck out? You should have hit that, and for that little boy, it's like, I'm a failure now. And he may not get to revisit that constraint of I'm a failure for 30 years, when he's presenting in a huge auditorium and a company that he gets paid, $200,000 and he's an expert, but he's got sweats and hypertension and he doesn't understand why. Well, his fear of failure has never been reconciled. Now, many people might say, well, it's the chicken and the egg. Did he have the fear of failure prior to his father reprimanding him or belittling him? Or was that event the catalyst for it to be created? My assertion is it's the former, right? Because you arrive with this. That's the opportunity. And so, yes, you attract the quote unquote obstacles or trials and tribulations,
Mm.
but they're really just an extension of you, because there is no separation. So that comes
Wow.
back full circle to resonance. Like you change the frequency on a radio, it's like, oh, you didn't suddenly see this song whisk into the room and find the radio, right? It's everywhere, right?
Mm.
So you go from hard rock to R&B. It's not like, oh, hey, everyone, get like Boys to Men over here now. We're done listening to AC/DC. Like, no, it's everywhere. Like, so
Yeah.
the shift in frequency, the events arise simultaneously.